This evening. You were in India, visiting Mumbai and Delhi in October of 2022, looking at your investments, looking at the future investments that you will make. What gives you the most hope and confidence about the India story today and about the India-US partnership?
Well, thank you, Shereen. Thanks for moderating this conversation, and thanks to the US-India Business Council for hosting this event. It's great to be here. It's great to see close friends like Ambassador Sandhu, and to be able to follow Secretary Blinken is fantastic. So for the Development Finance Corporation, the Development Finance Bank of the United States, India is a critical market. As you mentioned, it is our biggest exposure, nearly 10% of our overall portfolio. In our history, we've invested in several hundred different projects and investments, totaling over $7 billion. And there's a reason why we're spread across so many different investments for such a large scale, given our overall operation, why India is so important. It reflects what Secretary Blinken was talking about, that the core of our relationship is the economic relationship, the opportunity to bring finance to the private sector across a range of different types of companies and projects: energy, infrastructure, healthcare, agriculture, support for small business, is key to supporting the economic development of India. That's good for the United States. That's good for our trading relationship. That's good. Economic growth is good for stability and is critical to our national security. So India is the place where the Development Finance Corporation's mission comes together, helping economic growth and development while advancing our foreign policy and national security interests. So it's a critical place for us.
It's a critical place for you, and that's good to hear. But let me pick up on each one of those priority areas that you spoke of. And I'll talk to you about renewable energy and the transition that the world is making and India is making as well. And that is a big area of focus for you. $500 million in a solar project, that's the kind of investment that you're making. What's the big bet? What's the big thesis on the renewable side?
Well, first and foremost, and I think this is a critical element of US government and President Biden's policies, addressing the climate crisis globally is key. It's also the case that access to reliable, sustainable electricity is a key to development and economic growth. The two things come together: addressing the climate crisis and helping people have access to electricity for their livelihoods, for economic growth. And in India, there are so many opportunities for us to help with that, whether it's in the manufacturing of solar panels. Secretary Blinken referred to this $500 million loan that DFC has made to a US company, First Solar, to build a solar panel manufacturing facility in Tamil Nadu. It's going to go online this summer, open officially later this year. This is important for India, to be able to have a source manufactured in India for solar panels, free from the supply chain issues that bedevil that sector, using a different technology, a cadmium-based technology that's free from those issues. That's key. But it's not just the manufacturing, it's also the deployment. We have numerous projects where solar panels are used to generate electricity and provide that kind of reliable source of power for people. That's on-grid, that's distributed and off-grid in places that otherwise wouldn't have electricity. And we're looking for more opportunities. This is a priority for DFC globally, but in India, it's a place where it really comes together.
You know, I'll talk to you about the future opportunities that you're looking at, but I want to segue into a related issue, because you talked about this investment that's being made into a US company to manufacture solar panels in India. But what about investing in Indian companies that could service opportunities in the region and large parts of the world? Is that going to be a focus area for you? Is that going to be a priority for you?
Absolutely, and thanks for that question. As part of the Quad, India, Australia, Japan, and the United States have been thinking about ways that all four countries can cooperate throughout the Indo-Pacific. There are many opportunities. We're looking to support Indian companies that are looking to expand in the region or even in Africa. A great in India by supporting financial institutions to lend money to small and medium enterprises. We target women's economic empowerment, financial inclusion. We do that in microfinance, but also in small and medium size enterprises. And then there's a great example of a high-growth company that we've lent money to called Soothe Healthcare. It's filling a really critical need of providing women's hygienic products in India. This company is entrepreneurial, very competitive, has a great profile in terms of education, but it also has huge development impact, and that's why we're involved. It's not only a terrific investment, but unlocking the potential of women, helping women participate in the workforce. That comes from providing this kind of service and these kind of products. And so this is the kind of company that we're thrilled to be able to be partners with and financially back.
You know, we're having this conversation just ahead of the Prime Minister's visit here, and as we heard from Ambassador Sandhu, he said that both substantively as well as ceremonially, it's going to be an unprecedented visit. I'm paraphrasing, but I think I got what you said correct. And there is a lot of focus on what happens G2G and between both governments, what will get inked, what will get done, what the outcome will be. But what is your message to the private sector? Because the role of private capital in being able to achieve some of the goals that we just talked about, address some of the challenges that we just spoke of, what's the message to private capital?
Well, as I think Secretary Blinken said, the economic relationship is at the core of our partnership, the core of our relationship. We have found, as it's clear in India being the biggest part of our portfolio, that there's just a huge range of investment opportunities, a huge range of business opportunities. I strongly encourage U.S. companies to look at them, to continue to pursue them. I want to say that if DFC can be helpful with our tool set, we'd be delighted to help out, whether that's lending or equity investment, political risk insurance, technical assistance grants. We're there to help support not just U.S. businesses, but also obviously Indian businesses, as we've been discussing. I think the Prime Minister's visit is a great opportunity to highlight that relationship. We're hoping to make a bunch of announcements during that trip about investments that we've made across a variety of sectors that are really important for the bilateral relationship.
Can you give us a sneak peek of some of the announcements that you're going to be making without naming names, maybe?
You're persistent, but no, I don't think. It wouldn't be prudent for me to do that.
I'm a journalist first.
Yeah, of course.
So, no?
No.
I thought I would give it a shot. But, you know, healthcare, and I want to talk to you about that in the context of the kinds of investments that you're making in India. And one of the big ones was in vaccine manufacturing with biological
That's
E.
Right.
And this is, of course, a big area of partnership for the Quad as well, and that's going to be now spruced into beyond vaccine manufacturing as well, and healthcare security is going to be one of the aspects that the Quad looks at. How do you see this aspect being built out through future investments?
It's a great question, because I think it's important to learn lessons by looking backwards at how the response to the pandemic went, but it's important to apply them to the future for future pandemics or healthcare crises we don't know about. And one of the keys to doing that is building resilience in the healthcare systems around the world. That I mentioned some of our healthcare investments for eyes, for thinking about women's healthcare, and other opportunities. That's key. As relates to the pandemic or future pandemics themselves, building distributed vaccine manufacturing capacity is incredibly important. DFC has been involved in Africa and in India in helping do that. I think that's the right thing to do. That's only fair to see vaccines manufactured in multiple locations around the world. But it's also prudent, I mean, to have the vaccines manufactured, and this is across the board for the kind of vaccines necessary for childhood development, as well as for dealing with epidemics or healthcare crises.
You know, one of the themes of the IDEA Summit this time around involves resilience. And I think we've been talking about resilience in the context of supply chains, the disruption on account of COVID, the disruption that we're now starting to see on account of geopolitics, and what that does in terms of commercial and business decisions. How do you view India's role as the world looks at de-risking supply chains, as the world looks for alternate sources, in terms of supply?
Well, I think India is going to have a critical role, already has a critical role to play in that. I mean, we talked about First Solar, that's a key part of it. We're looking at other investments in solar panel manufacturing, other electronic and communications technology manufacturing, and then it just is across the board. The more we can work together to diversify supply chains, that's part of DFC's goal globally, and India is just key there.
I'm going to end by asking you about technology because, again, to quote Ambassador Sandhu, he said that is going to be the master key that unlocks the true potential of both sides. India, in many ways, has developed a playbook that's very unique, especially on the digitization side, and especially when we talk about digitization as a public good. What are the lessons that you believe the world can take or the US can take from some of those examples?
Well, and this is something that we're just beginning to work on now at DFC in India. I think that there's a really important element of collaboration between the United States and India. It's obvious in software and in the kind of development that's taken place in high tech over the last couple decades. But I think we need to make sure to collaborate on things like cellular telephone networks, data networks. Make sure that we're using safe and secure equipment that our governments can trust, that the people can trust, that protect their privacy. I see my colleague Amos Hochstein here. I know this is a huge priority for him, and we're working together to see what we can do along with India to help promote that kind of safe and secure deployment of the critical communication technology that, like access to electricity, is a key to unlocking development, economic growth, and a key to people's livelihoods going forward in the 21st century.
So what's been the big surprise, for you in dealing with India, in getting the US to look at the opportunities that India presents today? What's been the big surprise for you?
I don't know that I have a big surprise. It's been fantastic to be able to visit India. I look forward to more trips. I'm hoping to go to regions I've never been before. Ambassador Sandhu always says that I'm a frequent guest at India House. I love that. I wouldn't have said before I took this job as CEO of DFC that I'd be as focused on India as I am. But for me, it's been revelatory and really important work. I'm thrilled to be a part of making closer relationships between the US and India and strengthening the economic ties.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck with that, Scott Nathan. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you back in India very soon. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. A big round of applause, Scott Nathan.